Welcome to today's session, Unleash the Power of Adobe Acrobat Across the Institution. It's now my pleasure to turn the floor over to your first presenter for today. That's Tony Lista. He's Adobe Document Cloud National Sales Manager with Education. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you, Phil. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. As Phil said, I'm Tony Lista, and I'm speaking with you today from Massachusetts. On behalf of Adobe and my colleagues who will be assisting with this webinar, thank you very much for joining us today. The topic, as Phil said, is unleashing the power of Adobe Acrobat across your institution. We're excited to show newer users and more experienced users basic and advanced features of Acrobat and the power of working with Acrobat within the Microsoft environment. Before we get started, I want to go over with you some great on-demand webinars that are available to you should you have an interest in continuing your digital journey and working with Acrobat and Sign. On the left-hand side of the screen are the on-demand sessions. I'd like to point out a couple of them that I think are exceptionally good. They're all good, but there's a few of them that are exceptionally good and will add enormous value for schools and institutions and organizations that are looking to automate electronic documents. The one called Adobe Acrobat Sign and Workday, Adobe Acrobat Sign and Microsoft integrations. Both of these are great sessions because they show the power of being able to automate document workflows and integrate them with enterprise systems like your ERP system. Above that one, Adobe Acrobat Sign and Microsoft Teams. We'll be touching a little bit on this today, but for those of you that are a Microsoft environment and collaborate using Teams or other components of Microsoft, we'd love to show you the Acrobat features available in that. But today, our focus is unleashing the power of Adobe Acrobat across the institution. There are three bullet points that we're going to be spending some time on today. My colleague Dan, who I affectionately refer to as Dan the Man, will be providing a demo for all of these features, saving time, boosting productivity, and having greater peace of mind. Okay, so beginning this session, what I'd like to do is just get a little bit of background on who the individuals are that are joining us here today, learn a little bit about what your roles are, your experience level using Adobe products, and what you're interested in hearing about. We typically see for these webinars a large portion of our attendees as being IT people, and it looks like about 58% of those individuals are attending today are in the IT area. Thank you very much. And then how are you using Acrobat or Acrobat Sign? It says that most of you, about 60 to 70% of you, are using both of these products, which is a great to learn, and that the greater portion of people are either intermediate or beginner, and this is good. So this is a good mix of background. Thank you for answering these questions and providing the detail for us. We appreciate it. Okay. So even though the title of the webinar is Unleash the Power of Adobe Acrobat Across the Institution, we invite you to think of the ways in which Acrobat and the power of automation can help you with your digital transformation goals. But before we get to the demo, my colleague Dan will show you, let's set the table for what you're going to be seeing today. So what is digital transformation? It can mean different things to different businesses and industries. Some think of it as converting paper to digital documents. Think PDF, but today we're going to show you that Acrobat is not your father's PDF program. Others think of it as e-signatures as a significant transformation process. Still others think of a seamless document workflow that allows document collaboration using enterprise technology like Microsoft Teams, where digital documents can be sent, signed, and when completed, update your enterprise systems. Areas to think about. I'm focusing because my role is in education and nonprofit, so a lot of my examples will be in that area. But think of faculty and staff onboarding, or finance and legal agreements that need to be collaborated on before they're sent out for execution. Or the example that you'll be seeing a little bit later on today. Think about your dean's office or individual areas where employee expense reports may need to be more efficiently handled. We're going to be providing all sorts of demonstrations of those capabilities today. So going paperless now, why does it matter more than ever? Well, COVID motivated many of our clients to take the leap into digital transformations. The shift using Acrobat and our e-signature product Sign really helped our clients move these shifts from office-based paper to digital paperless, automated workflow processes. We think your organization will see the same value using Acrobat to improve efficiency, reduce expenses, and reduce errors. For those of you that are beginning the paperless journey, and for those of you who have already started their transformation, what are the things that you need to consider? I'd start off really by thinking about a document journey in one of your departments like HR, finance, recruiting, advancement, career services, or any of the heavy paper areas of your organization. Consider how every stage of the paper document process could be automated, from creation through collaboration, signature, archiving, and later retrieval. All of these steps should be considered, and by using Acrobat and Sign, you can automate many of these steps. Now think of a future state in your organization where documents, information, and where you work from make no difference because the digital flow is accurate, automated, and compliance ready. This is what Acrobat will provide your organization. Some information to kind of help you think through this and make it a little bit compelling. In education, Forrester's 2019 study by Forrester found that 80% of all education workflows, so we're talking K-12 and higher ed, and for that matter, it may even blend into our nonprofit customers as well. 80% of all workflows still involve some paper. And the goal here is to take and reduce the amount of paper, or to go paperless if it's at all possible. Some other information that just to set things up again for when Dan is going to be showing you a demo. Each year, 250 billion, that's a B billion, PDFs are opened in Adobe products last year. And for those of you that are Microsoft shops, Outlook, 40% of the attachments that come across in Outlook are PDFs. I set this up this way because it's a great way to think about how automation can take place and where you can add value. If 40% of your documents coming into your email system are PDFs, why not use the power of Adobe to help automate some of those features? Some other numbers that might be compelling to you. Again, this is through Forrester Consulting. This is across all industries, not necessarily just education, but one of the areas where our clients consider how automating and digitizing their workflow using Acrobat can improve things. Think about these ROI estimates. You can have a 30% increase in transaction speed, over an hour and a half of labor saved, on average $17 of savings per document that's being pushed in a non-automated process. And a big one in terms of compliance and reduction in errors, significant improvements in those areas. So we ask you to think of the areas that you're exposed to for areas where compliance is a component, a piece of it, HIPAA, or other areas that you have to pay attention to, and areas where you'd like to mitigate some expenses. That's where Acrobat and Acrobat Sign can help fill the need and automate some of these business processes. This is more of an eye chart for you to think about. I just did uh, a session with a client of ours up up here in the Massachusetts area. It's a community college, and they provided us some feedback on some of the areas where they've achieved significant improvement. They began with a dean's office that was putting through employee benefit changes and rolled it all out across the entire campus. Today, they automate every department on campus using Acrobat and e-signatures, and they've reduced expenses across the enterprise. And IT reports that they're able to handle all of the requests coming in much easier. I'll provide some additional detail on this one, but it's a use case that we typically see where clients will use these automation in one business area and then see the value in other business areas. So some feedback again from our clients, just to again provide you a little bit of background on why not only did they convert, but why they continue to use the Adobe products. It's easy to use. Those of you that are familiar with Creative Cloud, Acrobat, or any of the other products, the user interfaces are very similar. Our products have been working in higher education now for over 25 years, so it's a trusted product. For our K-12 and higher education, where we have individuals that are dealing with um, seeing challenges, our accessibility features within our product make it first rate. Deep integrations, you're going to see some integrations today with our partner Microsoft. But earlier on, I told you about integrations that we have with ERP. We have integrations with CRM, and a bevy of APIs that will allow you to automate end-to-end processes. These are the 5 or 6 areas that clients tell us that it's been able to provide them with uh, extended value for the goals that they have in terms of automation. So now that you've had a chance to listen to me kind of set things up, I'm going to turn it over to the real part of the program that you want to see. My colleague Dan, the man Anderson, to set up and Armstrong, excuse me, to set up and do the demo for you. Dan.
It's all good. It's all good, Tony. I appreciate that. And, thanks so much for setting the table for us. Man, I'm excited. And thanks everybody for being here today. I just want to take you through a couple things. Um, I really am excited. And I hope that I can help today. First, I like to start just by telling all of you thanks. I know that you work with our products on a daily basis and you put a lot of effort into helping make things better at your campuses, and I just want to say thanks. Um, when Adobe started with John Warnock and Chuck Geschik here, they had come up with an idea called Postscript, and they pitched it to their company. I'm going to leave their name out actually, but they pitched it, and the problem is they were like, well, that's not what we do here. And they're like, yeah, but like we could. And so they started an industry that nobody asked for or wanted and quit their jobs in the process. And these bold moves have continued to shape how Adobe's business is done today. We strive for excellence, and I think sometimes it's really hard to see what happens internally at a company. Just one story. If you know anything about our beginnings, we had these 25 original fonts that we put together. Trajan is a great font that is still used today. Many of you have probably used it before. Carol Twombly and her team had found this Trajan statue over in Rome that was built in 113 AD. And so they did what any logical person would do. They flew over to it and they took pencil rubbings of the Roman lettering and brought it back and designed a typeface after it. So if you ever ask yourself, why does this font look good? Well, it's because we flew across the world and used that to help refine what we were doing with that typeface. That's the kind of detail that happens every day at Adobe. We have some core values, and I want to thank you for coming with us on this journey. But we really believe and know that it's our responsibility to help create the future and to be genuine with you. And that we are going to own the outcomes and we're going to raise the bar and help make everything a little bit better. And these values are what today's webinar is based on. Is we want to help you these things at your institutions. How can you own the outcome and help raise the bar for the experience of your faculty, your students, and your institution generally? And the reality is we can help. We're in the process and business of creating the future, and we want to help share that with you today. So I just want to go over some stuff we think about when we hear Acrobat. It makes stuff into PDF. I already own Acrobat. I have a standalone install. Like, I'm good. I don't really need anything else. I don't really need it for all users. Our documents are already pretty good. Often digital skills or outcomes are justified as good enough, right? Unfortunately for me in my life, my English teacher never told me that like my paper was good enough. She graded my punctuation and all that good stuff and shredded me every time. And we accept that with digital. We say it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Let's just get it good. And then of course, my favorite, students, faculty, staff, like they'll figure it out. Like our job's to roll it out. They'll figure out how to use it. I want to help address some of this today. What I do here at Adobe is I help take care of our education customers in the US and Canada. And my job is to come in and help set a vision and to say, here's where you could go. Here's some of the tools you have that could help you get there. So all of these misconceptions and all this stuff about PDF and Acrobat just being something that somebody does or you push one button, this ends now. I'm here to help you today understand a little bit more about what Acrobat is and how it can solve your problems. And we can help you. This is what we do. We created PDF. So I'm going to just address this first. I know people have concerns about security. This is one little screenshot from like a 15-page security document I could provide if you want to. We have a very great set of security standards here at Adobe, and we are going to protect your content and your data, and we can provide HIPAA compliance. We take care of military, biopharmaceutical companies. We can take care of your institution's information, and we can be trusted to do that. So if you need more information about security, we'd be happy to have a full conversation about that with any institution that needs some help or conversations with others to secure some of this stuff. We talk about today, a lot of folks I know buy Acrobat Desktop. The latest version that we sell for that is the 2020 version. And, one of the things I was asked to kind of help put together today, well, what's a comparison between like a desktop install that just is like for that one machine versus like what we sell today with Acrobat Pro and a login? So what you're seeing here is these are like little drop down. You can see the little chevrons. They drop down with like information. Like this is all I could fit on the slide. And this only represents the January and March updates of this year. We've had 7 major updates this year with about the same amount of features added and perfected. So if you're talking about what's the difference between a 2020 version and what we're installing today, like I can't even enumerate the difference and what you're working with. So today I'm really going to do most of it all on like things that don't require the desktop version of Acrobat, because there's a lot of things we do that don't require desktop software anymore. But I want to start right here. Real student experience. Japanese class, and they're taking a test, and the professor's providing the PowerPoint in their learning management system. You can see at the bottom of this slide that the words have all been jumbled around on the page. The reason is because the style that was used in the PowerPoint is not available in the web browser because it's not compatible. And the professor said to them, well, I'm sorry, I don't know how to fix it. That's just how it is. And there's nothing I can do about it. This is during their test. So the student has to try to interpret this in a different language and figure it all out. And I want to remind everyone that they're paying for that experience. And I get a little passionate because this is a problem that we could even fix in an automated way so no one had to do anything. And I have a lot of students that I help, and I see this kind of stuff all the time. I'm sure that we have seen one in our own situation. But then we just write it off and say, well, it's a formatting issue. Like, something's probably wrong somewhere. We can solve this. And a poor digital experience is no longer acceptable. You can see here in the right, and I'm going to show you what I did. I opened that PowerPoint in Acrobat is all I did. And it sorted the whole slide. It saw the styles in the PowerPoint, put everything where it belonged. And I should add that it did the OCR. It made sure all the text is scanned, it's indexed. And with one more button, I could make it accessible for screen readers. And this is the kind of experience a student should be able to have. Right? We've got to get away from this jumbled gobbledygook that's being passed out to people and other issues. But I bring this one up first as a student experience. And we're going to dive into that one. So we have a lot of things we can do here at Adobe and help you. We have the document cloud where we can do combining, create, we can tag, we can manage PDFs, we can index them, OCR, all that stuff happens in the web. Adobe Acrobat Sign is our sign solution for institutions. So we could take care of all of your signatures, your documents as part of that workflow. And then we're going to talk today too about PDF services APIs, where we can pretty much take whatever you do in Acrobat and we can automate it with an API so that you never have to even open Acrobat to do a lot of those things. So that being said, I'm going to jump into the demo. I hope you're all excited because I know I am, and this is going to be great. So I'm going to start over here on my mobile device with Adobe Scan. Hang on. I got ahead of myself. I'm so sorry. The student PDF. Let's deal with this. I'm just going to go here and convert, and I'm going to say I want to take a PowerPoint to a PDF. I'm on acrobat.adobe.com. Okay. So I'm just going to go pick the file. Here it is. And you can see like this is my Japanese lesson. And if I come down here a few slides, you can see that this is all jumbled and gobbledygooked on us, and we've got a problem. So all I'm going to do is open that and as a PDF, and we'll just give it a second. And I'm doing it on acrobat.adobe.com. I could have done this right from PowerPoint. There's an Acrobat button in there. Okay. And that's it. It's now fixed. So if I scroll down to the same offending slide down here towards the bottom, you can see here it is. All I had to do was take it from PowerPoint into a PDF. And now it's accessible. Like there's a lot that we could do now with this, that it's a PDF. So those kinds of simple things, I'm going to show you how we could solve some of those problems and automate them towards the end. But I just wanted to start today's webinar with this problem we have for students and simple steps we can take to help make sure they have a better experience. Okay. So that being said, I'm going to put together today a packet of information, and I want to look at this like, an expense report of some sorts. Like in this case, I went to a conference. So I've got a receipt, I've got a PO, I've got some evidence of what I did, and I want to kind of put this all together and get it sent off for signature and organize all of that. So I'm going to start now over on my mobile device here, and I'm going to open Adobe Scan, and I'm logged in, right? So it's connected to my document cloud login. I'm just going to kind of hold this over it. Okay. And I'm just going to crop it a little because I just, I can, right? Let's make it look good. Good is better. All right. And I'm going to hit continue. And what it's actually done is pretty cool. It didn't just take a picture of this. this actually made it a PDF and it OCR'd the text that was on the receipt. This is now searchable and indexed. And all I had to do was just use scan. So I'll just say, this is my max receipt. Okay. And I'll rename it and save the PDF. Okay. That's all I had to do on my mobile device. And here it is. You can see it, my max receipt. I scanned it. Okay. So we're going to use that a little later. Okay. But over here inside of Acrobat on the web, what I want to do is I have a PO. I'm going to show you how I would make it, and then I'm going to just use the one that was already done. I have this option in here in eSign to create a web form. And what I've got is I have this purchase order request from Excel. And again, you can see like this is a purchase order request in Excel. Like, let's just level set there. Okay. So when I open this Excel file, I'm just going to say, yeah, this looks good to me. We'll click next. And I could do this in, desktop Acrobat or whatnot. This would actually create a web hosted form that people could sign. But what I want you to know is we have an AI engine here at Adobe. We can have a lot of conversation about AI, but know that ours is commercially indemnified and it lives inside the walls of our firewall. We don't take customer information. We don't scour anything from the web. It's all trained internally. We have a very strong stance on ethical AI behavior, and we've been very diligent on that. But what we did is we taught the AI how to deal with a document. So you could see, like, I could come over here and I have data fields and I could start to put these and make this form so I could fill this PDF out. But like that might take a while. So I'm just going to click the button and I'm going to let Adobe Sensei take over. So there's my form fields and they're all placed. Like I have a couple little issues. Like this isn't a signature. So I'm going to say, well, that's actually just text input and that's a multi-line entry. And then I could come in here and say, over here, like I want this to actually, instead of entered, I want that to be calculated. And it could calculate that across for me. Okay, so we can use AI to help set this up very quickly. And then if I need to do the next page, I would just click and it will put the, all of my fields in for the next page. Okay, so the AI is built into this to help me make this form. And I wanted you to see how it can be made. I have one for the demo today that's already been filled in and made that I'm going to include in my final packet here. So I am going to jump over to Desktop Acrobat for a minute because I want to show you something that I just think is fun. And sometimes we don't think about Acrobat doing some of this stuff. So in this case, if I hit play here, what I've got is this is a video of a little clip that I made while I was at the conference. So this is like my learning objective, like what I learned. And I want to provide some evidence to say, hey, this is what I did. So if any of you are wondering, just for fun, since we're talking about it, this was a 2D Illustrator file with layers that we just used our new 3D rendering and parallax options in After Effects to make. So if any of you are Creative Cloud kind of folks and you love that stuff, we can do that now just with a flat file. We can turn it into sort of this dolly roll. So what I want to do though is I want to show you how this is done it's a PDF. So I can just come to Acrobat and say rich media. I want to add a video here. And all I have to do is drag out like a frame. And then it says, where's your video? So it's here. And then there's some advanced options that are kind of nice. Like I could say, I want to do a poster from file. And so I have this video thumbnail that I made and some other things I could do here, the controls and stuff. But I could say, okay. And then that'll drop that video in here into my PDF. And if I click on it, then it'll go. Okay. So in this case, I just wanted you to see kind of how it gets put in there. Notice it'll support 3D objects, right? Some really wonderful stuff that you could put in a PDF and use it to submit information. And so this one I'm just going to save. So I have this little PDF file that has this video inside of it. Okay. So I've got a receipt, I got a PO, I've got a video, and now I want to put all this stuff together and make my packet. All right. So I'm going to jump back out here to Acrobat on the web. And what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to use a combine files here. And so I'm just going to go select some things. So here's my final purchase order. We're going to need that. And this is the sessions I went to. So I want to include that in there. We'll open those up. And then remember I scanned that receipt. Where did that go, right? Well, I know where I want it to go. I want it to be in my documents. And what do you know? There's an Adobe scan folder and there's my Max receipt. Perfect. I don't know where I saved it. I didn't send it to my email and copy it, download it. Oh my gosh. Anyway, we've all done that. We don't have to do that anymore. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to my computer for one more file. I think my video PDF is done. So I can put that in here. All right. Now there's a couple things I want to work on here because my PO has this second page. It's like overflow. So I don't need that. I'm going to delete it. And then my little schedule here for Adobe Max, I had a lot of extra pages. I don't actually need any of those. So that's good. And then I want to start with like the cool stuff, right? So I want to move the video here. I want to put the PO kind of towards the end. But the problem I've got here is I kind of need a cover page for this, right? Like this is okay over here with my Excel file. What I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to go design a new page. And Adobe Express will open right here for me. Again, remember, I'm still in the web, right? So in this case, I'm going to just do, let's see, conference, I think. There should be some options here. Here's a great one, business conference, okay? So very quickly, I'm not going to edit all of this, but it would be easy. So I'm just going to replace this image because I went to Adobe Max and had a blast. So I'm going to put my picture in here. And I'm going to take and replace this one. I could use, we have stock imagery available through Adobe Stock, and our stock content is filtered and safe for kids under 18, you know, so it's all set up for education already. And I'll throw in this other copy of something that I did here. And if I wanted to, like I have access to my Creative Cloud libraries over here, I could bring something in and whatnot. But when I'm finished with this, in fact, let me just do this. We'll just eliminate that piece of text. And I do want to bring in a photo. I got one more. I want to add my Adobe Max logo. And I'm going to drop it here on the top. And if I wanted to choose like a different color, I could say, you know, let's do a white. And like, that's okay for now, right? And so then all I would have to do, if I want my layers, they're all here. I can change everything. I'm just going to add this, and it's going to take this design and it's going to match it up and put it on the front of my PDF. Okay. And then I've got a packet that is like organized and it's all ready to go. Okay. So this is my combined file. It has all the stuff I did at the conference, my PO, my receipts. And I'm just going to do Max attendance. There we go. Okay, there we go. And I'm just going to click combine. And again, this is all happening in the web. It doesn't have to happen in the web. You've got a mobile device for Acrobat that can do a lot of stuff. You know, all kinds of things you can do. So here it is. Me and my daughter having a great time. Some pictures, things I did. There's my schedule, all the ratings for the sessions that I made. My videos baked into this. I have my PO here. And then I've also got, you know, my receipt and all of those things. So this is good. But now I need to get this thing signed and sent, right? Because I got to get approval. So I'm going to click into this e-sign feature. And I want to be very clear for a minute. This e-signature solution that is included with an individual's license to Acrobat does make legally binding agreements between the individual who sent it and the individual who is asked to sign it. So in this case, I'm doing kind of an interoffice thing that doesn't necessarily need to be an agreement that the university wants in their big packet. If they did, then that could go in and we would need to use Adobe Sign for enterprise, not this individual solution. We include it for these kinds of projects when there's little things going back and forth, but these should not be used for any kind of contractual agreements between entities. Okay, so it belongs to the person who sent it and the person who signed it. It's a fully legally binding digital signature in that way. So in this case, I'm just going to request the signature, and it's going to open up my combined file here. We'll just give it a sec because I, threw the video in. It was like 3 or 4 megs here. But essentially what's happening right now is it's launching me into Adobe Sign, my individual license that goes with my Acrobat. And we're going to get this sent out. So we'll just give this one more second here while it finishes. I should have probably just left the video out for the demo, but I wanted to include it because it would be cool. Let's give it one more second here. Oh, come on. Give me just a sec. There it is. And let's send that one more time. Let's see if this will load a little quicker. If not, I have one that's already pre-baked. But I was hoping it will bring that one. Okay, I think I'm just not patient enough. None of us have ever been guilty of that, right? Okay, so I will just take this one. That's my final purchase order here. And so here it is. In fact, let me just do this. I apologize. That one didn't load and I was ready for it too. And then I didn't. Okay. There we go. Okay. And let me just make sure that I've got the right one here. Okay, there we go. So this document gets put in the packet and prepared, and we just put in the person's email address here, and then I can hit next. And again, Adobe Sensei and our AI technology in the background is going to kick in as it's reading this PDF, and it's going to go find the form fields, and it's going to analyze the document for me. And so all I need right now is I just need this approver information right here. So I'm going to add a signature block in here like this. Oops, gotta get it on the page. And just shrink that down. Okay. And then I'm going to take over here, info fields. These are people's information that they don't have to fill this in. So if we use one of these, it'll auto-populate it for them. Okay. So here we go. And that's all I would have to do is put those 3 pieces in, and I can just send this. Okay. So that's been sent. It's out. And let's go take a look at it and see what it did. Okay. So over here on my phone in my Sign account here, this is what I just got. I just got a thing. Hey, you've been requested to sign this. So I'm going to click on that to sign. And we'll just give it a minute to go through and load my document. And there it is. So all I have to do as the person who's approving this, it's all here. And if I had the other pages attached, they would all be in here as well. All I have to do is tap on that to sign it. And if I ever signed before, it will remember my previous signature. I'm happy with that. And I just click finish. And now the whole process is done. Everybody gets copies of everything, and it's digitally signed. It's out the door, and we have a completed agreement. And so back inside of Acrobat, I'll be able to then come in and see all of my agreements and have access to those files right here when I click on agreements. And it will show me there's my agreement. When was it done? How, when was it processed? All those kinds of things. So that's just some of what we can do right here with Acrobat on the web to kind of give you a couple ideas. Okay. Now, I showed you a lot of features that you've seen and have been used in other places and whatnot. I want to just really express to you that I showed them to you in the web, on mobile, and all these other places, but they're available everywhere. So, like when I come into Word, for example, I mean, if I want to send something out for signature, I can click send for signature, and Acrobat Sign loads right here. Okay, my tools are right here for my PDF services. If I want to use, here it is, it's already converting it. So I have access to those tools wherever I might go. And so if I'm in Word and I just need to, make a PDF or something, I can do that all here. Okay. So we're integrated wherever you do your work. But I want to finish with a story from my time when I was in the classroom. I taught graphic design, and I had a faculty, the counselor came to me, and she said, Mr. Armstrong, she says, we want to put Seth in your class. And I said, well, you guys see an issue here, right? And they're like, well, look. And I said, like, Seth's blind, right? And they said, yes, Seth is blind. And I said, you want to put him in my graphic design class? And they said, well, if you can't help him, we don't know who can. And I really had a moment with Seth as it relates to accessibility. I'm happy to say that we were able to help Seth. He loves music, wants to go work at Yamaha, and we helped him make his own song in GarageBand. And we helped do some really creative tools with him. It was great. And we got to some documentation for one, and he tried to open it, and it made this little bonk sound, bonk, and it says null, bonk, null, because the PDF was not accessible. And so Seth couldn't interact with it, and he couldn't learn. And I watched him be completely frustrated all day long. He's like, why is this saying null? I would hear him screaming it from the back row, and all the other kids are like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Accessibility is a real and important thing that we have to deal with, and we take it very seriously here at Adobe. I want to show you one thing that I hope opens some thought for you. This is real vision stuff, okay? Power Automate from Microsoft is fully integrated with everything we do here. Whatever you want to do, okay? You can tell Power Automate to do anything with our tools. In this case, I've created a very simple flow. When I put a file in this folder, that's my trigger. When I put a file in there, I would like it to make a tagged PDF that would then be at least somewhat accessible. It won't be perfect. A perfect PDF that's accessible needs human eyes. But we could get a long way from null with Seth if we just did this. So when I put the file here, I want you to run the Acrobat auto tagger and tag the document. And then I want you to save it in this folder. Okay, so if you have 1,000 documents that you know are not accessible, drop them in the folder. The PDF API will take all of those and add the accessibility for you. You have to do nothing. There's no coding, nothing. Here's where I really want to push what you're thinking on this. This is great. So you put a file in, it tags it. What if instead of this was going to OneDrive, what if this was going to your learning management system? What if when you put a document in the learning management system, it triggered the API that grabbed the content, created a PDF that was indexed, OCR'd with accessibility, and then delivered it back to the professor to give out to a student? You could change the world by simply creating a 3-step Power Automate that automated the documents on their way into the learning management system. So I want to end with that by saying we are here and have the tools to solve the problems that you are facing. And I really hope that you will get with Tony and the rest of our team, and we will have an opportunity to help make change happen at your institution. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. We're impacting kids and students, and they need a good digital experience, and we want to help provide it. So we're here for you. I know people have some questions, so I sort of want to like wrap my demo there just to say we can help, and we hope that you'll give us an opportunity to do so. We created all of this from the beginning, and we partner very closely with Microsoft and would love to be there to help your institution. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the team, and I think we're going to take a few questions and stuff.
Terrific, Dan. So awesome. Each time I see your demos, I learn a little bit more, get a little bit of a nugget that I can use for conversations with clients. That was terrific. Thank you very much. I hope everybody appreciated the content there, and the some of what the questions that we were seeing were around some of the tagging and OCR. So hopefully Dan answered a little bit about that. We also had some questions around the AI tool, and how that works. Does that automatically happen, Dan, each time we pull in a PDF
Yeah,
file?
it does. The AI does happen in the background. You don't have to use it. You saw I had to click the button. And if you tried to immediately save the file, we're going to give you a warning that those fields were made by AI and that you should review each one of them. And that warning will come up until you have reviewed all the fields, because it can help do the mundane work, but it should always be reviewed by a human and and do the logistical things that have to happen. And again, I want to iterate that AI is an internal thing that lives behind our firewall and doesn't use content from the web or from our customers. It's all legally licensed through our stock and other sources internally.
So another question, Dan, was the last bit of the demo was around the Power Automate feature. A couple of clients were interested in understanding how they get Power Automate. That's a product that comes with their Microsoft environment, correct?
Yeah. So Power Automate is part of your Microsoft environment, or if you have Adobe Sign enterprise version for your institution, full licenses for Power Automate come for all of your users included. So it is part of Adobe Sign.
That's terrific. Everything we showed you today has got the native integration with Microsoft and the Adobe integrations that work seamlessly. And Power Automate is one of those features that we use. Sign has its own workflow, so you can use and combine them together, and for a very powerful program. The other questions I think we were able to answer. I tried to answer them out clear. So if anybody wanted to get some information, there were questions around how I extract information to use in other
Yeah.
forms, or how I can extract information to perhaps load into another back-end legacy system. Power Automate can do that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and so anything you're doing in Acrobat, like when you do accessibility, you run an auto tag, for example. The API could do that from Power Automate. It could run the auto tag for you. There's a lot of things that you can do with that API. It's pretty powerful. So, yeah. Anyways.
So what I tried to do with individuals that were asking questions, I'll just put this out there for the clients as a whole, 80 or so of you that are still online. If you'd like to get more information on anything you see here, you can either reach out to your reseller and ask them to set up an appointment, or if you'd like, you can reach out to me directly, Lista, Lista, at adobe.com, and I'll help schedule discussions around your needs, or to provide you details on how to do some of what you saw here today that Dan did, and chat with you about your vision at your school, or nonprofit organization, or organization that is looking to use Acrobat and Sign. So
Yep.
as a next step in the process here, kind of to get ourselves finished up over the next 2 minutes, what do you need to do to kind of take in what you learned today and maybe apply it and then think about some other steps? So we talked a little bit about tutorials that are available on the screen here. There are different links that you can click on that will give you tutorial information about workflows, videos. I sent a couple of people that were making private inquiries in the chat box. I sent them links to some of this stuff. There's great information, great content behind this. If you need additional help, as I said, you can reach out to us. Look at the webinars, get some information, try these things out, contact your rep, and have a discussion with Adobe. And we would like very much to help you out with whatever you're trying to do. As Dan said, student success and institution and academic performance and institutional performance are areas that we help out with, and we'd be delighted to help you out as well. With that, I'm going to thank everybody for their time and appreciate you joining us today, and thank you for being Adobe customers.